The following is a sponsored program paid for by Robin Gwaltney Group-RE Results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE Results and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning. It's time for our Rochester Real Estate program. I'm Andy Brownell, and with me, of course, Robin Gwaltney Group-RE Results on this Saturday morning. A lot more spring-like.
Yes. Good morning for sure. It is beautiful.
It is. It's getting there. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
I'll take it.
It gives me hope for the that spring might be just around the corner, and I guess it's not too soon to talk about getting ready for that busy spring market, I suppose.
Yes. From my perspective, spring has sprung when it comes to real estate. Okay. So I'm getting calls. Sometimes 2 a day saying, is now the time? Should I get ready to get on the market now? And my answer is yes, and yes, because we need inventory. So I'm looking for listings. Absolutely. And people will call in their initial, I had a really nice call this past week from a couple that had been referred to me by a past client, which is always great. And this couple's so cute. They built their house in 1983, and they've lived there ever since. And they said, we don't know anything about selling a house or buying a house. And so I went and sat in their living room with them and just, talked them through the process step by step, exactly how it'll play out. And, you and I have spent a lot of time, Andy, talking about that step-by-step process. But it really is true that because it's second nature to me, people really don't know exactly how this goes. So, anybody who's listening and planning to put their house on the market, in the next week or 2 or 3, you can start today before we even talk or meet. You can start by going from room to room and just decluttering. I tell people put maybe 3 baskets. This is the stuff that we're absolutely getting rid of. So get rid of it now.
It's going to be bigger than a basket.
Well, room by room, okay? Let's not get overwhelmed.
Okay.
So 3 laundry baskets will work perfectly.
Okay.
All right. So go into the kitchen and go cupboard by cupboard, drawer by drawer, and just say, today I'm going to do the kitchen, and go through every single space and say, this is something I don't need. I'm not taking it with me to my next house. So put it in it's going to the Goodwill or, wherever you decide to donate your stuff. And then the next basket is, this is stuff that I'm definitely keeping, but I can pack it away for now because
probably won't need it between now and then.
I won't need it between now and then.
It'll be something like for next holiday season.
Or something, or even, it's maybe something that you don't use really often, so you want to pare down just a little bit.
Give me my George Foreman grill.
There you go. Or your rice maker.
No, I think the Foreman grill goes in the donation pile.
Something like that. But anyway, so then, those are things that you can start packing up, because some of your things, you don't have to wait until the end to get everything packed, right? You can start packing some boxes. And then the last one is just the stuff that you're going to keep until you move, and just leave it very organized.
Okay. When you think of it that way, you probably don't need a lot, especially in the kitchen, do you?
You really don't. And, I think when people come in and they look at your house and you have just a very clean, simple lifestyle. You don't have drawers that when you open them to look in, they're just, everything's coming out at you.
You've been in my house, haven't you?
Yeah. I've been watching you. No, but my house, everybody's house, it's just the way it is. The junk drawer. Yeah, the infamous junk drawer. Well, at any rate, get rid of the junk drawer. Clean that baby out. So that when people do start opening your cabinets and opening your, I have one cupboard that you open it up and there's those doggone water bottles. I don't use them. But, you go places and people say, oh, here's a water bottle. And I'm not one to just throw stuff away. So I have 8 water bottles. I'm like, I don't use these. So I just need to throw them away. But they're perfectly brand new, so I don't throw them away. But they need to go in the donation basket.
There's that Minnesotan for you.
Yeah, they need to go. They need to go in the donation basket so that when people open my cabinet, my house is not for sale and isn't going to be, but I'm just using that as an example. Open that cabinet, everything in there is neat and clean and organized, and no extra stuff bursting at the seams, because it does make your house so much more desirable for the buyer. It's crazy. They come in and I think emotionally they just take on, wow, I could live here. This is nice.
Instead of, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I have to clean this all up.
Yeah, this is crazy, hectic lifestyle. Get me out of here. Exactly.
I suppose psychologically, too, it becomes, they imagine it more as their space as well
Exactly.
than your space.
And what's hugely beneficial to the seller is that now once that house sells really quickly and you've got 35 days to be packed and moved out of there, packing and moving out, excuse me, is going to become much less, stressful.
Well, I'm thinking you're over 2/3 of the way there.
Exactly.
Because, well, probably 3/4 of the way, if you're really honest with yourself
Right.
about what you really need to have on hand.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So it's something you can start doing today. If you think I'm going to sell my house, but I'm not quite ready, I don't want to put it on the market until May because I want to stay here till the end of the school year. I don't want to move until the kids are out of school. Fine. No problem. But start going room to room and deciding what you're getting rid of, what you're packing up now, and what you have to keep until you actually move. And you're going to be hugely ahead of the game.
Well, actually, it sounds like I might do that even though I'm not selling the house.
Perfect.
Spring cleaning.
Perfect. Spring, doesn't the sunshine just give you energy? It's like
well, it's
crazy.
funny, too, though. When you're in the winter, it's the winter time, and you end up spending a lot of time in your house because that's just the nature of winter in Minnesota. And you start going, where did I get all this stuff?
Exactly. But at the same time, it's dark and it's cold, and I don't feel like doing anything about it. So give me a fuzzy blanket and give me the TV remote.
Wait, when you're talking about this spring market and the residents coming,
Yeah.
you really are only talking about a matter of weeks, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, we're there. It's upon us. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm ready for listings, definitely. You call me, we'll get it listed, we'll get it sold because we've got buyers, but we need more listings.
Yeah.
So I've had a few come on this week that are going to sell quickly. I've already had people calling saying I'm going to be sending an offer, and they both went on just a couple days ago. So I'm feeling really good about that.
Okay, so if I decluttered,
yes,
that's only one step in this.
That's
whole
the
thing.
first step.
That's the first step.
Yeah, and then the next step is call me up and say, come on over and let me know if there's anything that just pops out. Like if I come in and I see a really wore out piece of carpet or stained up, I'm going to say, you know what? It's probably smart to just take the carpet out of this room and put new carpet in here.
Lime green shag.
Yeah, that. Well, you never know if it
actually,
looks nice, it might it might be in.
And I don't have lime green shag, but I remember living in a house that did. So there.
I had red and black shag. I mean, not me, but my parents. Yeah, it was the thing.
And the funny thing about those homes, particularly the Elton Hills neighborhood, if you pulled up that ugly carpet,
Bingo.
there was hardwood underneath
Bingo.
there. They built those houses with
You
wood.
don't know how many times I've gone in to a listing appointment and somebody says to me, what do you think we should do about that carpet? And in minutes, I'm on my hands and my knees crawling to the corner, and they're like, who did we invite into our house? And I'm over there pulling up the carpet, and I'm like, oh, guys, I think we have something really nice under here. And I'll start to pull it back, and they're like, oh, my gosh, we didn't even know we had that beautiful hardwood floor. And so I say, what I would do with this carpet is get it removed, So there are things that I can advise people on without I don't want you to go and spend a ton of money to get your house sold, especially in a market where inventory is so hot. But sometimes, $500 to $800 up front means $2,000 to $5,000 on the offer, it sounds crazy.
Well, that's where you come in. That's the key to it, because you can identify that is one of those areas and this isn't.
Right. And sometimes people say, well, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that, because your house is already at the absolute max value. And by investing that money, all you're doing is decreasing your profit. So do not do that. So after I don't even care if you call me before you declutter. Actually, I kind of like it because it makes me feel really good when I get there. I'm like, so I'm not the only one with one or two junk drawers. So that part doesn't bother me at all.
I'd like to see what's in your junk drawer to see what kind of crazy stuff you keep.
Oh, brother.
Because I know the stuff that's mine is just weird. Why the heck would anybody keep that?
I mean, one time when I cleaned out my junk drawer, I had like 6 decks of playing cards. I cannot tell you the last time I played cards. It's like, why do I have these?
Because you can't throw them away.
Yeah, because they're perfectly good decks of playing cards. Exactly.
Okay. Well, we're going to come back in a moment and talk more about things you can do to have your house ready to take advantage of what's going to be a very, very busy and active spring real estate market in the Rochester area with Robin Gwaltney. Gwaltney Group-RE results on Newstalk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back. I'm Andy Brownell with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE Results. Today, we've been talking about things you can do to get the house ready as we head into the spring marketplace if you have plans to sell your house.
Right. Starting today. I mean, honestly, you can start today getting that house ready to go.
So we've decluttered, and I've given you a call, and you come over, and we're kind of, you said the carpet. You might point out if there's something really obvious with carpet. Are there any other things that kind of...
I mean, that was just an example. There are, sometimes people say, should I have my carpets cleaned, or is that not necessary? So people just have questions. Sometimes they're pretty critical on themselves, like, does this look really bad? And I'm like, this looks really good. So, and then other people think, okay, everything looks right. Not so much.
It looks lived in.
Yes. So I do pride myself in being very honest and very straightforward. I don't think I'm doing anyone any service by coming in and telling them exactly what they want to hear.
Right.
I think my responsibility is to come in and say what they need to hear, right? So if it's a good idea to make some improvements, I'm going to tell them. If it makes 0 sense to make those improvements, I'm also going to tell them. If things are, all the mechanicals are 30 years old, I am going to recommend getting that house pre-inspected so that they know if there's any issues, lingering out there. And then even if the inspection comes back and the inspector says, everything's been maintained and cleaned, and even though the furnace, the water heater, the water softener are all at the end of their life, they're all still working, then I would probably recommend offering a home warranty so that if anything does happen in that first year on the market, then that new buyer is covered.
So is that a big expense to jump into something like
that? It's
$500-$600.
$600.
So it's not.
No, it really isn't. And I think it gives the seller a peace of mind because most sellers would feel really horrible if they sold their house to some young couple or older couple, it doesn't matter, and day 3, the furnace goes out. I mean, that doesn't feel good because you sure have no intention to do that to somebody. And unfortunately, if it's after the sale has closed and the seller wasn't hiding anything, it's not like they've had somebody out there to fix it and they said, oh yeah, you're on your last leg. This thing's going to break down any day. And they didn't disclose it. I'm talking about they really had no knowledge that it was going to die.
Well, with the older furnace.
Right.
The thing that goes is the heat exchanger.
Right.
And there's no way to predict that.
No, there's no way of predicting it. And so that just gives people a little bit of, just a little safety net, right? So that if it does break down, I actually had one that I used recently. The appliances were older, so I asked, when I was representing my buyer, I asked that the seller please pay for a home warranty. And, they didn't really want to, but then I think their agent did a good job of explaining why that was important and why it was also beneficial to them. So they agreed to it. And I think my buyers were in the house for about maybe 2 weeks and the refrigerator died. And they ended up getting a new refrigerator from that home warranty. So that saved them.
Everybody had a smile on their face.
Yeah, it saved them some good money. So paid for the warranty right there.
Okay. How about the pre-inspection? That's probably not all that much either, is it?
Pre-inspections, $350, depending on the size of the house, right? And size and age of the house.
But then you're kind of eliminating surprises at that point.
Yes, and time. It's a time thing. So let's say you're selling your house and you have it pre-inspected and the inspector tells you, Andy, there's these 8 things here that I see as an issue. Well, now you can start plugging away at those 8 things right now so that when the offer comes in, it's not like you now have 30 days to get all those things fixed and taken care of before the closing.
Because some of these things are small, little, tiny repairs.
Exactly. I see things over and over and over. Like many times people's gas line has not been grounded. So it's a matter of calling an electrician, paying $125, $150, getting it grounded. It's a safety issue, right? The radon thing is, of course, something we've talked about a lot, but get that radon tested. If your level's high, get that mitigation system in there and take care of it.
No matter what, it's the law.
Well, yeah,
right?
It's not the law, but it's very well known that radon is the second leading cause in lung cancer. So people are aware of that. We live in a medical city. They don't want to live in a house that knowingly has radon. So if someone's going to buy your house and have the radon level tested, if it's high, guess what? They're going to ask you to take care of it. So for your own sake and your own safety, get your radon level tested, and just know where you're at, whether you're selling your house or not.
Okay. And I know of people that some of the repairs that the inspector pointed out were simple things like something to take care of a gap between a garage door.
Yeah.
Things that.
Yeah, not big things.
Not big things.
Another thing we see a lot is, and if you're thinking about selling your house and you're listening to this, walk around and look at your windowsills right now and see if you may be one of these people. If you have wooden windowsills in your house, what happens with the weather changes, with the summer and the winter and the cold and the hot air and the condensation, a lot of times the glass will get condensation, and then that water will run down and sit on that wooden windowsill. Well, we don't typically walk around our house every day and wipe those off, right? So sometimes that water will do some damage on that wooden windowsill, and oftentimes it's just a matter of having it resanded and repolyurethaned. And it's not just about making it look pretty, it's about saving the integrity of the wood. Yeah. So, it's a maintenance item that if we keep up on those things, you're going to be in great shape. But if you're like me and you keep your window shades closed on some certain windows pretty much all winter long and you don't even pay attention to the condensation, luckily I don't have the wooden windowsills, so I'm good. But, it can happen, right?
Yeah, I know a lot of folks it has happened to.
So you want to watch that. And then that's another thing that's really common.
Other things that when a buyer comes into a home that are almost like triggers that, this is something that really is a turnoff for them?
Yes, that's a really good point. Buyers love to walk into a well-maintained home, okay? Buyers also love, I don't care if I have the messiest, I can go to a listing appointment and see that someone lives in their house. They're not nitpicky, pristine housekeepers, but when they're buying a house, they don't want to look at somebody else's messy house. They want it to be pristine and nitpicky clean, right? People just enjoy looking at your house if it's nice and clean and neat. So my suggestion is declutter and clean. Clean.
Hire somebody to clean.
Hire somebody to clean. Exactly. A lot of times a little fresh paint goes a long way. Now, I don't always say just because you're listing your house means you have to paint the walls. But if I come in and I can see a particular wall where maybe the kids' boots go up against the wall all the time and there's lots of black marks, or your door has lots of grubby little handprints, I will make suggestions like, hey, let's get a Mr. Clean eraser and clean this door. You're going to be surprised. It's going to look brand new. And maybe a little bit of fresh paint on, this particular wall. So just that kind of advice to get it looking its best.
Is there any advantage to, let's say, if you have a bold color that you really liked, that
to go neutral,
perhaps somebody else might not appreciate like you appreciate?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. And in some cases, I'm going to say, let them worry about it. Because, again, we are in a market where inventory is low and buyers are high. So if they come in and your house is neat and clean and orderly, but they really hate that purple wall in the dining room, they are not going to not buy your house because of it. Okay. But if I see something that I say, oh, it's going to be super beneficial for you to paint that wall. And for me, it's usually going to be because of a dirty wall or something that's going to be offensive to people, not so much a color that they like.
Okay. But
Okay.
that's why you're there.
Yeah.
Is to give me that advice so I do what needs to be done and not spend my time and energy doing something that's not necessary.
So when I get called and come into that listing appointment, that's when we sit down and kind of make a game plan. Like, what does our timing look like? When do we get the pictures taken? When will we actually hit the market? How
Okay.
many days before we receive an offer? What's the typical time span before we close? So that's the conversation we have at that initial meeting.
And it's very close to the time to have that meeting, isn't it?
It's time.
Okay. So there you go. There's your notice. The spring real estate season is upon us. We're talking with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE results, and we'll be back in just a moment.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning. Welcome back. Andy Brownell with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE results on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. We're in the break, and you tell me you're hopping on another jet plane and getting out of Minnesota again for a while. Going to what? Going to Vegas?
Going to Vegas tomorrow.
I
Yeah.
am jealous.
Yeah, it's not my favorite place. Some people love Vegas. It's a little overwhelming for me, but it's a short time. It's 3 nights, so it's a quick little visit. It's the RE/MAX annual convention known as R4.
So it's a national
It
convention.
is. Yeah, there'll be 6,000 RE/MAX people there from
Wow.
all over the country. We have like really good speakers, and we have a private concert by Journey, and we have, for me, it's a great opportunity to network with my RE/MAX friends that are all across the country. So I really look forward to it. I don't know if you remember last year, I went and was one of the speakers for the Teams event. So last year, I was a little more nervous about going than I am this year. This year, I'm excited because it's just take it all in. And I get so much from that conference every year. I'm a firm believer in always learning more about what's cutting edge in our industry and always being able to bring that back and use it to, do one thing more for my clients. So I'm excited about it.
I suppose the latest technology is a big topic, too, because you guys are always
absolutely.
incorporating the newest technologies.
Absolutely. And of course, Brian, our marketing guy, will be going as well. So he'll have a blast, learning from all the techie people that are there with what's new and improved.
And Journey. You get to see Journey.
Yeah, and it's fun because that concert is just for those 6,000 people, and it's in this great big arena, so everybody's on the floor, and it's really fun.
I
we have a good
bet.
time. It's always a good band each year, but
All
yeah.
right. Well, hopefully when you get back, the weather will be even nicer than it is this weekend.
Yeah, and then
That's
I can
for
tell you
sure.
all about it. Tell you what I learned.
I'm not a big gambler either, but I
Yeah.
think just the sights and the sounds.
The
and
thing
everything
that
is-
bothers me the most is the cigarette smoke. We're so spoiled here.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't go anywhere in public and smell smoke. And now I'm not judging people. If they smoke, they smoke. But when you have thousands of people together in a place and they can smoke like inside that casino and then you walk through, it kind of gives me a headache.
Okay. So before we move on, that goes back to what we were talking about before. I never even thought of that. If you are a smoker and live in a house, is that something you need to have addressed before?
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I will say I'm proud of people because people who smoke, very few of them smoke in their homes anymore.
That's true.
They go out in their garage or go outside. So kudos to them for that because that does cause some serious damage to houses if it goes on, over a long number of years.
And I imagine that from a buyer's perspective when they go in.
It's
and
a
if
turnoff. If you're a non-smoker, yeah, it's a turnoff.
I know. I've become very sensitive
Me
now to
too.
that, even though it used to be we were around it all the time, and now, as you point out, we're not.
Yeah, good point.
So, okay. You had some sad news.
Yeah, I have a friend from high school, a high school classmate, who is battling cancer. I mean, we all have somebody, right?
Everybody knows somebody, that's for
this
sure.
guy is just a great guy. His name is Paul Holland. He is the band director over at the Lake City High School. So everybody, I mean, he's very well known and very well liked. So I just wanted to put a little plug on the air that there is going to be a benefit for Paul called Marching On, and the benefit is going to be on March 15th, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, March 15th from noon to 5 at the Lake City Sportsman's Club. So I just want to get the word out.
Okay, so if you're looking for something to do that weekend,
put it on your calendar.
Put it on there, and
if you know
might
Paul
remind
and
you
want to
before then.
honor him, that'd be great.
So I guess this is the part of our program where we go,
See you next week.
no, you got to tell us. We've been saying, call Robin, call Robin, call
Oh,
Robin.
yes. How do you call Robin? Got it. Sorry.
You're already on that plane out of here.
Yeah, I'm so out of here. No, call my cell phone. I'll even answer it in Vegas. I promise I will. My cell phone is 507-259-4926. And I'd be happy to get together with you next week. I'm back, and let's get those houses on the market.
All right, everybody get them ready. Declutter this weekend if you're even thinking about selling. So until next week, Robin, thanks so much.
You're
I'm
welcome.
Andy
Thank
Brownell
you.
on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.